As Rabbi Herzog Cohen just mentioned, a group of 13 temple leaders, clergy, staff, and lay, went to Israel in January. You've heard from many of us on the trip, one by one, but Beth and I wanted to present our reflection together because the experience of togetherness was such an integral part of the trip.
Of course, that's not to say the trip was easy. It was not. A trip to witness the aftermath of hatred and destruction could never be easy. But visiting a devastated kibbutz or listening to family members of hostages, while not easy, was relatively straightforward. The lines between right and wrong were clear.
What proved a greater challenge to our good and evil framework was wrestling with broader societal questions about the aftermath of October 7th.
How can Jews and Arabs coexist peacefully when each group is understood as a threat to the other's existence?
And yet, how can we not cultivate hope for a shared society, if for no other reason than neither people is going anywhere?
How can we recognize the humanity of people who support terrorism, either tacitly or with action?
And yet, how can we not see them as human beings with hopes and fears and families, just like ourselves?
Going into this trip, Risa and I had hoped it would help us gain clarity around a complex situation. It did not. But what it did help us do is hold space for the gray, for the confusion, and for the hurt of Israelis and Palestinians alike. That was hard to do on the trip, and it's been hard to do with friends and family back here at home. While we ardently support Israel, we don't support all of Israel's actions. And while we ardently support Israel, there are people in our lives who do not. How can we tolerate, much less embrace, those shades of gray and those disagreements?
We don't have answers. We just have a lot of questions. But what did help us process our experience was sharing our thoughts and feelings with others. Each day of the trip, we had a processing session where we could vocalize our confusion and pain, and sometimes our hope. As a group, we didn't agree about everything, which probably goes without saying given that it was a group of Jews. But we did agree that we were there to support one another.
And in a world of uncertainty, supporting each other is something within our power to do. We can't know all the answers. We can't know what the future holds for the hostages, for the displaced kibbutz communities, for Israel's security, or for the crisis in Gaza. But we can sit in the discomfort of not knowing together.
Shabbat Shalom.